Hi guys! Okay, so I thought I'd just make a little video because I've been getting a lot of questions and queries lately about how I actually manage to do what I do, to travel around the world pretty much non-stop. In summation, it's pretty much because of my job. So what my job title is a photojournalist. It all started, I guess I kind of need to tell you a little bit of background as well. So I'd say I have two different stages in my life. So before I was 16 and before my depression, and then the last 4 years of my life since I've been 16, which includes going through depression, recovering from like severe depression and like suicide attempts, and completely changing my life around into what it is today, which I'm actually very proud of, to be honest. And I love that I'm able to share now with you the happiness and the beauty that life holds. And traveling for me is a way of appreciating that and seeing it and experiencing it and just fully embracing everything about life that I can. So for those of you who don't know, when I was 16, I had a few inpatient stays in psychiatric wards, and like had to see about 20 different psychiatrists, psychologists, healthcare professionals, even hypnotherapists, in order to help me recover from my depression. In doing so, I left school at 16 at the end of year 10. I did about 2 weeks of year 11 and ended up in hospital and never went back. So instead, I found an alternate route into university, which in Australia and New South Wales at least, there's this test you can do called the STAT test. So it's multiple choice. It's kind of like an IQ test, I guess, in the way that it measures your intellectual potential and capacity. So it's kind of like problem solving and things like that. There's no direct answer as such. It's more like, here's 4 answers. 3 of them could potentially be right, but which one is the most correct? So from this test, I got a score that allowed me to get into university. Woohoo! So I went to study at Newcastle University, which is just my local university, for about a year and a half, in which I was doing subjects under a Bachelor of Arts, which I found interesting, but it wasn't really, it wasn't really holding me in any way. So I decided to focus on the passions that I did know I have, which was photography. Santa bought me my first camera in, I don't even know what year. It was this little, just like a plastic Kodak one. And then in 2009, Santa got me an upgrade and I got my first proper DSLR, which I absolutely loved. I remember roaming around the streets around home for like hours on end, just taking photos of pointless things like flowers and rooftops and clouds. But yeah, absolutely, I've loved it ever since. So it's actually amazing, and it still astonishes me that I now get to do that as my job. I get to do that every single day. Okay, so I went to uni, transferred up to Griffith on the Gold Coast, which is why I moved to Queensland for 2 years. So I studied there for 2 years. I've now done like 3.5 years of what was supposed to be a 3-year degree, which was going to have to be 4 for me because I transferred and didn't get the full credit. Except because I then also decided to do part-time uni rather than full-time. Because of the travels, it would end up being almost 5 years. So I have about a year and a half left of my degree if I am ever wanting to go back and finish it. I've currently deferred from uni at Griffith, and I'm pretty much just following my passion for photography and travel. There's something about it that I'm magnetized to. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's like when you're traveling, you wake up and you don't know what the day brings, and that's one of the most scary and exciting things ever. I want everyone to experience that, actually, at least once in your lifetime. I'm going to take you all away with me. It's my life dream, is to just make everyone group together and we're going to go traveling. And I started traveling whilst I was still at uni. Last February, actually. I went to Perth, had my first unofficial photojournalist event, I suppose you could call it. I went over there and did a Mai Tai kiteboarding event, and so I photographed that. It was incredible. We had this huge house, and there was about 20 to 40, I can't even remember. There was a lot of people in this one house. People were dressed up in like house suits, and they were kiteboarding. They were drinking beers like nothing else. I'd never seen someone drink that many beers. It was a lot of fun, so that was a week. And then I got home and I got invited over to Bali on an Active Escapes. And so excited as I was like, yes, right off to Bali. And then when I was in Bali, I got contacted by 2 different travel companies, and I've been working with both those companies ever since. This is collaborating in this way is actually part of the reason why I'm able to continue traveling. And so that kind of started my love affair with travel. Can't even remember where I've been. How bad's that? Every time I get to the airport, I go to give them my passport and they're like, oh, where are you going today? And I just freeze and I'm like, I don't even know what airport I'm in. Last year, most of my trips were solo. So I either went by myself somewhere and just met people and like made new friends, and the best memories too, by the way, some of the best moments that I've ever had are because I was traveling solo. Purely because I was alone. It opens up a whole new world. You are more open to other people, to starting random conversations with strangers. If you see someone in a bookshop who looks intriguing or interesting, you'll go up and you'll ask to pay for their coffee and have a conversation. Or I was walking Runyon Canyon thinking that it was a huge hike, and this dude and his dog rocked up and they thought it was hilarious that I'd packed like an esky on my back with snacks because I thought it was like a 3 or 4 hour like trek, and it turns out it's just like a casual stroll. You could probably do it in a pair of thongs. If you're American, flip-flops, sorry. Don't hike Runyon Canyon in undies. Yeah, and then I went to Nobu with him, and that's where I saw like Justin Bieber, and it's a crazy life. And traveling solo, I guess, just enhances or opens up new doors to experiences that you might potentially otherwise not have had. I literally just then booked another trip to Bali. So we're heading off in 2 days, and we're going over there for 5 days, and then I'll come back for 2 days, and then I'm heading off to the Cook Islands. Yeah, and so then after that I'll be home for a little bit and then heading back off to America. I'm going to be in LA for a few days, and then my mum's going to meet me over there, and we're going to do Route 66, which I've always wanted to do. And then we're going to go to the Grand Canyon on the way, or the way back, I'm not sure, to Las Vegas, because I want to spend a few days there and hopefully, fingers crossed, see Cirque du Soleil. I've always wanted to run away with the circus. We're going to go to Disneyland. I get to go to the happiest place on earth with my mum. Go back to LA for a bit. Do some jobs and meetings around there. Maybe fly over to Miami or the Bahamas if I get some time. Then I will be going to Africa for the whole of August. So I'm going over there with a charity, and I'm doing some work on like libraries and like rebuilding schools and like teaching kids English. And then so we'll be working 5 days a week, and then on the weekends we get to do little day trips like the markets or the beach. So that should be a lot of fun, and I'm going solo on that one, so I'm hoping that there is going to be a lot of potential lifelong friends on that trip, because every trip that I've been on so far seems to be that you meet people that are unforgettable. I will also be going back to New York probably in September. Yeah, and then I'm not sure what's on for the rest of the year, but I can't wait to see where it leads me. Just go with the flow. So how am I actually able to do all of these trips? It's got a lot to do with my job. So most of the travel I did last year was because of companies contacting me and wanting to collaborate to either promote their brand or the tour or flights or a holiday, a certain destination for them. And then they started realizing that I had a DSLR and I could take some semi-decent images because of the history that I had at uni. That kind of helped. Or I might be upside down and I'll be like, wow, that's really pretty. Then take a photo of it upside down. Like it's literally just about what you see in the world. Most people's Instagrams are, I would say probably everyone's, to be honest, aren't necessarily their life. It's the chosen snippets, the best bits. It's fabricated sometimes, even like the way people have breakfast. You don't have a picture perfect Sam just got home. A picture perfect breakfast bowl. You use it I can't even talk now you hear Sam.
Pretend I'm not.
I can't! You don't have a perfectly looking breakfast bowl. It's all strategically placed and the fruit's cut up in a certain way just for the photo, and then you devour it. Yeah, so Instagram's like that. Most things are either, I'm not going to say edited in terms of Photoshop, because to be honest most of my photos are just on iPhone, but they are filtered and colours are changed and edited and it's all made to look pretty and fancy. It's really hard to talk while you're here.
Give me a sec. You cut that bit out.
It's so awkward. I didn't realise. So in summation, yes, I do travel quite a bit, both for leisure and for business. So when I travel for leisure, holidays, they're fully paid for by myself. So business travel is based on collaborations, which means that I will receive flights or accommodation in return for social media posts and or high definition images for a brand's use, which like they use on like websites and like their own Instagram pages and stuff like that. And yes, this is an actual job. It's not a holiday all of the time. It is actually work. It does take a lot of time and a lot of energy and like preparation even just to get photos. It's even about timing. Like it's got to do with the weather and like other people and yeah, like there's so many different variables that can alter a situation. And it's about, I suppose, being flexible as a photojournalist to still be able to provide photos that are usable or pretty even.